4th down and goal from the 9. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. The Bengals have the ball.
Baby.
They are running it back. Sam Hubbard.
Stanford Jennings is going to go all the way. When it comes down, the Bengals are champions.
Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up. It is good.
Today, Bengal fans, here we gather, talking football back for year 5. We're covering all things Who Dey Nation. We're glad you joined us here tonight. Special guests, past and present players. You never know who you might see. One thing that's for sure, it's all things Bengals. And it all goes back to charity. We at Talking Football want to thank you for joining us for the show tonight. By the fans, for the fans, until the very end. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 4-7 edition of Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. I don't know. This is almost like a broken record every damn week, guys. It's literally another letdown. A game they, didn't play defense the first half and come back and blow it in the end, man. Just unbelievable what's going on here. But tonight we got Eric Thomas on, Bengals cornerback, the part of the SWAT team from the '88 Super Bowl. So we'll have Eric on here in a couple minutes. But Tom, you good, man? I know you're having some technical issues early.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You're back.
He's back.
James has the Black Friday. James, what's going on there? Season over for you right now?
Season over. Gave it a valiant effort. Kudos to the fans that showed up in LA. Just another huge turnout. Great weather, but unfortunately, second time walking out of SoFi in 4 years with a loss. First half, ugly. I don't think there's any other way to describe what we saw the first half. And then Joe did Joe things. Our defense did enough to keep it close, and then unfortunately crumbled at the end. But look forward to ET joining us here shortly, hearing his thoughts from the player perspective. And, bye week, hopefully the guys are enjoying themselves in Pittsburgh after Thanksgiving. So, Tom, what was it like sitting in Cincinnati and watching Sunday Night Football and what happened on TV?
Well, it was pretty much just like what you saw, just with Chris Collinsworth for the first half building a statue of Herbert, who is a fantastic quarterback. But both my dogs are in therapy from me screaming and stomping around, and my wife has vowed to get me on blood pressure medication. But everything else seems to be pretty good. It was going to be tough to go out there. The Bengals historically have never played well on the West Coast. They do have some big wins out there, but they have never played well on the West Coast. And again, it was a team loss. Despite some spectacular numbers put up, it was a team loss. The offense wasn't there for the critical drives at the end. That one more first down that we needed wasn't there when we needed it. The defense was embarrassingly non-existent in the first half, and then caused a string of incompletions and played very well, made some personnel adjustments. We'll get into that a little later. And, special teams chiming in again with some mixed kicks and everything else overall. So it's a team. There's no way anybody should be pointing fingers at Paycor Stadium. It's been team loss. Every loss has been a team loss. Except for the guys that are having spectacular games. They'll do just enough. We're playing just enough, well enough to lose every week. And that's why we're 4-7. The season's not over. I love Bengals football. I'll watch them every week. But this is going to be a season that doesn't end up going to the playoffs unless something beyond 1970 miracle takes place. I don't see it happening, starting with the Steelers. But they get a week off, get to heal up. As many people have moved on to the offseason, I'll advise this before we talk to Eric. There are a lot of good things on this team. To go to the Super Bowl, you need a franchise tackle. We might very well have two of them. You need a franchise quarterback. I'll contend if he stays healthy and plays his whole career in Cincinnati, they'll build statues of Joe Burrow. He might be the best sports figure to play in this town, and I'm talking about Munoz, Bench, Robertson, Perez, all those guys. We've got the quarterback. Jamar Chase is in a rich history of wide receivers. Jamar Chase is a great wide receiver. You need an elite pass rusher. We've got him. We've got the best in the NFL, and we're still 4-7. So, the building blocks are there for the ultimate success, but holding ourselves back.
Yeah, I tell you, I want to comment on something that James said before we bring on ET here. Guys, there was a massive amount of Bengal fans in the stadium this past Sunday night. I was kind of taken aback. I knew there'd be a pretty good chunk of them out there. Our entire section was there. The section below me, it was James. You were there too, where you were sitting at. It was. I was very proud of the Bengal fans showing up and showing out yet again on the road. And it's cool to see all these West Coast Bengal fans. Ran into a lot of former Bengal players, man. Isaac Curtis was there. Lewis Breeden was there. A lot of families, current families. I think we had Cambridge Taylor's family there. T. Higgins' mom was tailgating with us. So it was fun to see the support. That's been the only constant all damn year, guys, is this fan support. Home and away, these fans have showed up and showed out through the win and losing, and it's kind of fun to see. But Tom, go ahead and kick off the intro here for ET. He's gonna solve all of our problems. He's gonna give us some counseling on where we're at right now. So just any questions you have, make sure you type them in when you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So type them in. Let's get some questions. Fire them out to ET. He's been through the good and the bad with the team too, so he'll be able to talk to us and help us through this thing. Tom, go ahead, bud.
Paul Brown and Sam Weich plucked him out of Tulane from the Green Wave, and he came up to lead the SWAT team. Every Bengal team that's gone to the Super Bowl's hit a shutdown corner, and Eric Thomas was the 1988 team's shutdown corner. Pro Bowler, one of the elite corners of his era in the league. Very still credit in community, our community, and has made Cincinnati home in his post-football career. But first-class individual, still a lot of fun, and it's our pleasure to welcome in Eric Thomas to kick us off. ET, welcome.
Gentlemen, how you doing? How y'all doing, man? Hey, hanging in there, brother. Trying to ride it out. It's very difficult, as you guys know. It's very difficult, but we're gonna try to ride it out.
All right, brother. Where'd you watch the game last Sunday? You just watch it from home, or what do you guys?
Yeah, I was just at home watching. I mean, I was like everyone else, guys. I was excited about the game. Tom made a great point, and I told someone this before the game started. I said, understand this. Their backs were against the wall, but they've never traditionally played well in Southern California. When we were here, we struggled down there. Go down to play the Chargers. It happened to us, and so that's true. I think that let's just sort of go half by half. The defense struggles a lot. I think we know that. We understand that. Part of that is because Louis Anarumo is a secondary coach. His defense is made to play from the back forward, not from the front back. And when you go back 2 years ago, even with Eli Apple here, you look at how effective Von Bell and Jesse Bates were, and with the addition of Mike Hilton being a nickel back, he was probably still in his prime then. It was very difficult to do a lot against them in terms of throwing the ball, particularly trying to throw the ball downfield. And that was with corners that, Cam Taylor-Britt played a little bit, but it was Eli Apple. Now, Wuze was a good corner, solid, very solid. So the Bengals defense is struggling so badly because they're not playing at the high quality that they need to play on the back end in Louis Anarumo's defense. This defense is made to take away the passes. up the seams, down the sidelines. It's always been that. And the first 4 years he was here, we saw a lot of it. It was really hard to get the ball deep. But when you change personnel, you change to new players, young players, you're going to ask those guys to come in and do the same thing. That's where the apple cart gets a little upset. And, you can go back to saying, they let Jesse Bates go because they thought that Dax Hill was going to fill that position. He didn't do it. And we're seeing the result of that with these guys on the field. Look, they drafted some of them. They're draft picks. For some reason, these guys aren't playing at that level that they need to. They're young players too. And it's got to disappoint Louis Anarumo because I think he's an outstanding coach. But at some point, in terms of getting this defense fixed, it has to get fixed from the back end first. And I think you guys know, personnel-wise, it's not there. They don't have it. Cam Taylor-Britt, who had, I thought, having a Pro Bowl season last year before he got injured, is all but disappeared to the point they can't even trust to put him out there. They got to take him out and put a rookie in. So there's a lot of issues back in the back end. Von Bell, and I love Von because he's a tremendous leader. He's a tremendous guy. Just looking at him, hearing him talk, hearing him speak, fantastic guy for the locker room. He can't play at the level that they need him to play. He's not in position enough. Battle's a young guy. They have to let him play and let him play through it. He's going to have to play and get better. I don't know if Von Bell can get better. Stone has been okay. I can't say great. He's been okay. Haven't seen enough plays from him yet. But again, we're talking about a guy that's in his first year of the system. But the disappointing part is Cam Taylor-Britt not playing anywhere near the level where he needs to or where he has. And that causes a whole problem with the whole defense because, as you know, DJ Turner it was going to be between him and Dax Hill who's going to play the other corner. And it ends up being that, Dax Hill goes down. DJ Turner's playing better than Cam Taylor-Britt. I mean, who would have thunk? So you got to look at it from that standpoint. But it's not just that. The tackling, I don't know what they do as far as practice. I haven't been down to watching practice but once. Tackling's poor. Effort's poor. Now, tackling's one thing. You get a back like this back for the Chargers, good running back. But the effort, man, you don't see the all-out effort. Trey Hendrickson's playing like a madman. I can't believe that he's leading the league in sacks and no one on the other side's taking advantage of it. I mean, this is just guys not balling out like they need to be balling out. Joe Burrow, for all his greatness, guys, he's a great quarterback. If he's got to carry the load of trying to lead the team too, being the vocal leader every single week, that it doesn't work. It won't work. You need to let him play quarterback and get as much as you can out of him. I told Solomon Woodcock the other day, I said, think about if you had, there was issues, Carson Palmer, leader, no leader. I told Solomon this. I said, even if Carson wasn't a leader, fine. This thing had he played with someone like Ray Lewis, where Ray Lewis said, you don't worry about leading, I'll lead. This thing about his career trajectory, how he's different, because he was the arm. He was the arm. Joe Burrow has the same gift. He's not the arm that Carson Palmer was, but everything else. He's got the heart. He's got the mind to play football for the next several years at iconic levels, just as Tom said. But the problem is, if they can't get someone else on that team to grab the team by the throat and lead, they don't have any other leaders on the team. I don't hear anyone else that's vocal that says this shit's got to stop. Tired of losing close ball games. We're not losing close ball games because of them. We're losing close ball games because of us. And that's the accountability that there's no one else on the team that's willing to put that out there. Now, you can't go talking and stand in front of the team if you can't hold up your end. Don't get up there talking shit if you can't play. If you can't play the way you need to play, you can't be the one standing in front of the team saying what we need to do. And so this team's got those kind of issues. And we could say coaching this, coaching that. Players play. That's all players do. And players have a direct influence on the outcome of the game. If they out-scheme us, that's one thing. That can happen. But at the end of the day, our effort, and as good as we are with the talent we have, we can beat that. And they're not getting that done. And you're seeing it show up every single game. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, they had a game like this against New England. Beat New England 22-0 at halftime. I think they ended up winning the game 25-21, something like that. Same thing. Offense was great in the first half. Defense was great. Second half, total flip, just like the other night. So they got to find out why is this happening. And look, I don't care what the record is at this point. You got division games against a team that don't like you, and the Steelers going to bloody your nose. They don't care. And so, in my opinion, they need to start thinking about what can we do going forward, because we have a lot of work to do here. And what happens if you stand up against the teams you have coming up, Cowboys, Steelers, stand up against those teams and show that you got something in you. Show us that you got something. We're not seeing that. We haven't seen it enough throughout the season. They haven't played one dominant game yet. I mean, even the Giants game, where it looked like it was just like taking candy from a baby, wasn't the easiest game. So we can just go back each single week of 11 weeks of just subpar football at best. Subpar at best. You look at the games, the Baltimore game, Kansas City game. It appears they played great. Can you say you played great if you lost the game? I mean, what are we here for? We're not here. We're not giving out pom-poms just because things look good for 3 quarters. And so, at some point, this team's going to have to say, what can we do to find a way to get ourselves back to being that hardcore, hard-nosed football team that knows how to gut out wins. So we haven't seen them have to gut out. We haven't seen them gut out anything yet. We've seen them give away games, gut loses. Not good enough.
Yep. Hey, so everybody that's watching right now you know why we were excited having ET on. He came in hot, man. We knew he'd be speaking.
I'm sorry, but I'm a fan too.
Don't be.
I get frustrated.
You're speaking from the heart, man. I love this, man. I love it. So, Tom, kick us off with a couple questions. We already got a bunch of activity going on in the chat area, ET. So let's have some fun here, Tom.
Eric, I appreciate it. And I appreciate the guys of your era and even the guys came forward. That you still love the city. You still love the franchise. You hurt with us. You understand us, the frustration and the hurt. It means a lot. But getting to Cam Taylor-Britt, this is kind of a question in 2 parts. I remember reading an article and talking to Ken Riley's son. When your coach, Dick LeBeau, came into town, Ken Riley was a 10, 11-year veteran, and he seemed to be slowing down a little bit. The Bengals had some tough years and seemed to be slowing down a little bit.
Yep.
And Dick LeBeau came in. He watched him at camp. He watched some films, and he pulled him aside. And he said, "No, you're good. Your problem is you've fallen into some bad habits that can happen easily." And they worked on it. And the next year, he was starting in the Super Bowl, getting another All-Pro before he retired, hung it up. And even when he hung it up, they said he could have played nickelback for another 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
Looked like Cam Taylor-Britt was going to be that elite shutdown corner to help take us to a Super Bowl. And for whatever reason, and I feel for the guy, but the nightmare is on. Is that what you're seeing? Is it? I mean, certainly his confidence has got to have been beaten on. Is it technique? What is it?
Tom, it does. It looks like technique to me. Solomon Wilcox and I talk all the time, and we, football is different now than when we play. So we try not to get too caught up into thinking that what we did will work for football now. It's not like that. But I do know this: now playing defensive back and the technique that's required at that position, you have to do it. You have to do it. There's no way around it, because you're playing against guys on the other side that are just as skilled as you, just as athletic, just as fast. And the only chance you have to cover these guys is to be able to play a technique that's solid. And it looks like to me like he's breaking down a lot in technique. He doesn't trust it. Now, I understand that the coach that was here last year, coach in secondary, now coaches at the University of Colorado. And so certainly when you have a coaching change, it does have an effect on players. At the same time, both him and the coaches need to go sit down and look at some of the things he was doing last year, technique-wise, and see if they can reincorporate some of that stuff, because this kid's a good football player. And we've seen this guy lose confidence right in front of our very eyes every single week. Now, the Bengals want to try to save him and save his career and keep him in Cincinnati. They have to help him. So, and that's up to the coaching staff to do that. He has to pay more attention as well. I mean, I tell people, when I played football, my first 2-3 years, man, I spent so much time watching tape during the week, watching a lot of tape. It was necessary. you need to do everything you can to get that edge. And when you're not studying, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, your game slips.
Yeah. Hey, James, go pop up one of those viewer questions. I think you have one. Question.
Yeah, ET, appreciate you joining us. John brings up a point here, and if you remember back, I believe it was 11 guys that we kept out of this draft class, whether drafted or undrafted free agents. You talk about the lack of leadership, and we'll go a little further into that later. But at what point do you throw these young guys to the fire and say, hey, let's see what we have here? You know, we saw Josh Newton get in a lot on Sunday night. We've seen McKinley Jackson get some touches. You mentioned Jordan Battle, who's not a rookie, but still a younger guy out there.
Yeah.
At what point do we say, hey, let's give these young guys a chance and see what we have?
I mean, it's time. I mean, they're not mathematically out of the playoffs yet, but let's face it. I mean, if they went out, they probably still won't get in. I mean, that's just probabilities. I mean, they lost a lot of conference games. Half their wins are from NFC teams. So I mean, they're not going to get in that regard. So now it's just usually when teams decide, hey, let's go ahead and start getting some of these young players in the game. My rookie year, we were struggling that year, if you guys remember. We had to strike. We got late in the season. Dick LeBeau came over and told Solomon Wilcox, you guys are up. And we were totally excited because we were waiting for that opportunity. And I think that some of these young players are waiting for the opportunity to get in the game and do the same things. But it's time. I mean, right now, this is what I think. You look at Joe Burrow, and he's the franchise. If we're not going into the playoffs, how long do we keep him in the game? How long do we play him? I mean, he's playing with a bad wrist. We know that. We know it. You see him twiddling his wrist around every game. It's not right yet. How long do we ride that out? How long do we risk him? So there's a lot to consider. Young players, taking the quarterback out of the game so he can get healthy for next year. He needs to get healthy. So there's a lot to consider what the team needs to do. A lot of questions, brother.
One more thing, and you touched on this earlier, ET, the lack of leadership. You mentioned Jesse Bates not being here. DJ Reader, I think, was probably the biggest on defense. If we don't have those leaders, does that go on coaching to step up? Do we got to look at the front office and say, hey, we need, they might not be the best player on the field, but as you alluded to, they're busting their ass every day, giving 100%. What do we need to do to get more of those guys on the team?
I think this is a lesson that the franchise could learn. We as fans should learn this as well. Last year, after Joe got hurt, it really wasn't a horrible season. Joe got hurt, and that sort of derailed the season right there towards the end. But if you think about this, you take out of any NFL locker room, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, DJ Reader, what do you think's going to happen to the locker room? That's 5 guys that have influence in there. That's 5 guys that can talk to these young players and tell them what they need to do to get themselves prepared to play every week. There's 5 guys that can tell you when we're dealing with adversity, this is how we have to attack it. This is how we have to go about it. They don't have that in there. Look, Joe can't do it by himself. I don't know if Logan Wilson and Pratt could do it. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen them play at that level and be vocal enough to say, hey, we got to help this. We got to help out vocally. We got to be talking about what we're doing. I mean, everybody can just sit up there and I'm doing my job and that's it. It doesn't work like that. It's a team game. And when it's bad for all of us on Sunday night, it's bad for all of us on Sunday night. I can tell you right now, you think number 9 is worried about his numbers? He's worried about 2 numbers, 4 and 7. That's all he cares about. He don't care if he passes for 400 yards a game. He'd rather pass for 200 yards a game and win every game rather than going what they're going through. So they have to, overall, the team, the players have to adopt that lifestyle. They have to adopt this mindset of what we're trying to get here. I mean, hey, look, man, you got a quarterback, as Tom said, that can take you to the Super Bowl. He's that dude. I watch football every week, and I watch all these quarterbacks. He's that guy. He can take you there. But what are we doing? Are we going to waste the next 2-3 years of his career trying to hope? Are we going to waste two, 3 next years of his career saying, hey, Zach, you got to find it. Zach, you got to find it. Hey, man, look, man, this quarterback needs to be winning right now. There's no way with that quarterback and that wide receiver on this team that they shouldn't be playing. They shouldn't be winning games. There's no tandem in the league like them. They're the best in the league. I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is the best quarterback, but he's playing the best right now. That's for sure. There's no doubt that Jamar Chase is heads above everyone else. I don't care what anyone says. He's the best receiver in the league, hands down. I mean, these guys are going right into their prime. We're gonna waste time losing with these two guys.
Yeah.
Let me say this, and I'll say this publicly: Jamar Chase needs to be made whole. He needs to be the highest paid receiver in the league, so he can give more of himself to this franchise.
That's I wanted to go there next. So let's talk about that. So look, you've been in the locker room. You know how these contract discussions go. I mean, is it possible that whole contract situation, it wasn't going well? You could tell Jamar wasn't happy about it. So he goes into the season. They just stopped talking about the contract. Does that affect the locker room in any way? What message does that send to the locker room?
Well, let's take this example. You got a lot of players in the locker room, 47 players in the locker room. I mean, there's only one player in that locker room that's better than Jamar Chase at his craft, and that's number 9, right? So all the other guys, I mean, there's no way that they think they're going to ever play at the level that Jamar Chase is playing, because there's no one else in that locker room that's capable of that. We know that, right? So knowing that, think about the effect that those guys think. What will I get? What can I get? I'll never be able to play like that. So I don't want to sit up and bang on that whole situation too long. I'll just say this: he needs to be made whole. He needs to be given his proper compensation so he can focus his energies with Joe Burrow on saying, what can we do to get our team going in the right direction and help this franchise win a championship? He's not going to commit to trying to put this team in no championship until he's made whole. And Joe needs that. Joe needs him to be that. So that situation, of course, it resonates in the locker room. Bengal Jim, it does. I hate to say it, but it does. I remember the 1 year we came back, Eddie Brown's contract was up. He wasn't in training camp. The bus started off rolling very slowly. We never got back on track. So, I mean, right, while they got this thing going with this quarterback and this receiver, look, man, if it's my team and ain't my team, I'm keeping T. Higgins. I'm finding a way to keep those 3 players on this team. I have to do it because that's what gives them a chance to win a championship. That's it. And then you just build everything else around them 3. I hope they do that. I don't think they will. I hope they do because I want to see them win a Super Bowl. I wasn't even going to go to the Super Bowl when they played the Rams, but I said, hey, man, I want to make sure that if they go again, I want to see them win it. And so I went disappointed like everyone else, but, they have the one component that you need to win a championship, and that's the quarterback. You got that guy. You got to put everything else together around that. This ain't just going to happen just because, Joe Burrow's in town and think he's going to do the whole thing. He won't do it like that. He's going to do what Joe can do, and then everyone's going to have to hold up their end, and let's hope that they can do it. I don't know if they will or not, but right now, those 2 players are tops in the league, and I wouldn't be wasting any more time trying not to compensate the other one to make sure that he comes along with Joe to continue to play like they're playing for the next several years.
Good. Tom?
Eric, it's a little bit, what comes first, the chicken or the egg. But when it comes to defense, I've been told by a guy that was involved in football more time, he said, if you want to help your pass coverage, get a better pass rush. If you want to help your pass rush, you got to cover better. Right now, again, we've got the number 1 for a team that has historically had trouble getting to the quarterback. We have the number 1 sack guy in football, number 1. And he's been at the top about every year. Now, the other 3 positions, really, and we got some very promising rookies, but not getting the job done. If you're going to fix this defense this offseason, are you going pass rusher, interior pass rusher, or are you looking for a shutdown corner?
Well, let's go back to the last draft.
Both.
One of the things we knew that the Bengals needed to address was the tackle position. That was obvious to everyone. I think they could have gotten Amarius Mims for later than when they got him. You know, he wasn't one of the guys that was real high up on the list. Big guy, didn't have a lot of play up under his belt. Corner is always a priority. It just is. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted that kid from Toledo, and he fell to them. And man, let me tell you something. I watched the Eagles the other night. This is Darryl Revis with some wheels. He's going to be that good. And as I watched the draft, I said, that corner's there. That corner is there. He's the guy that's going to be an all-pro for 10, 12 years. He'll be that good. Going forward, clearly they got to get a corner. You got to get a corner. You have to get a corner. You know, I think interiorly, defensive-wise, their 4 interior guys are good. Yep, I think they're good. Excuse me. I think that Miles has got to step up, man. He's got to step up. It's time for him to play. I can't believe no one's in that building not telling him, dude, do you know what the guy on the other side is doing? He's chasing everybody your way. They're deviling him. You got to win. I mean, why isn't anyone telling him this? Same thing. Why isn't look at yourself on film. You're not doing anything. You're not playing anywhere at the level you should be. These are things that, look, man, to me, I know coaches don't want to tell players and be too hard on them. Damn that. This is pro football. This ain't high school football. I coach high school football. Yeah, I coach the guys. I got to do a little more coaching when I'm coaching high school football. Not all the time. I don't coach all the time. Sometimes I got to tell them. But for the most part, for pros, man, these guys want to be good. They want to be told what to do. They want to be told that they're not good enough, because that's what will get them there. Okay, coach, if I'm not good enough, what can I do to get better? Good question, right? That's what a player would ask a coach, and the coach say, okay, boom, boom, boom. You got these things. You got to start studying more film. You got to spend time after practice going out there working with the receivers, working on your feet. Your feet are killing you. You know what I'm saying? You have an eye control, eye problems. Stop looking in the backfield. These are things that the coach has got to talk to the player about. The player's got to be able to accept the criticism, and then you step forward. I don't know if we're seeing that because we're seeing the guys play the same way. I'll say this. I got one gripe with Zach Taylor. Man, get your damn team ready to play. I'm tired of them going out there, man, and, you know, not being, frothing at the mouth to get out there and play. I came to the New England game. Damn, it looked like a preseason game. The emotion of it. I said, what are we doing here? Solomon Hooker, we sat there and watched that game, and we're totally disappointed. I know, and we knew going in that the Jamar Chase thing was going to have a little bit of an effect on the team. We knew that. It was too much in the media. They were talking about it too much. It was going to have an effect. Well, damn. I mean, he played. Hey, guys, he here. Let's go play now. He said he's going to play. We need to play. They don't show up. I mean, that game was boring. That game was soft. New England with a new coach, knew everything, came in and roughed them up in here. You know? So at some point, when does the attitude about what we're doing here changes? There's only one person in charge of that. It's his locker room. It's his team. He's got to get them to do that. All the players got to step up and play better. You know? And look, man, has it been totally horrible? No. Because we've seen some good football from this team. It's just not consistent. No consistency at all. I mean, and that's the issue here. We haven't seen them put together a string of 2 games back-to-back playing good football, have we? All year long. We haven't seen 2 good games. I mean,
we haven't seen 4 consecutive quarters, ET, 4 consecutive quarters.
I mean, we haven't seen it. I mean, again, the Giant game was probably the most impressive game they had so far. And that was a snoozer. They weren't great in that game. You know, they won the game. And, but at that point, we were let's just win a game. We just want to win. Care how it looks. I still don't care how it looks as long as you're winning. But when you're losing, and it looks a certain way, now you got to wonder why. And now, that's why you get a player like Jamar goes in the locker room, he's pissed off. Things ain't right, man. This is crazy. That's why you get Trey Henderson come off the sideline, join with the coach. Because guys are getting teed off because things ain't going well. And look, this is to Zach Taylor. Give us the play calling, man. Give it up, man. Coach your team. Be the head coach for your team. They need you. They need you to be the head coach. They don't need to call plays. They don't need you to call plays. They need you to pay attention to that whole team to make sure all of them are on the same page about what we're doing here, about trying to win games. Because we ain't here for nothing else. We're not here to play games. We ain't here to like people. We're just here to win. And when you got the talent to win and you know you're capable, someone's got to grab the team by the throat and say, hey, man, stop bull crapping and let's get this thing right. Even with the games left. I don't care how many games you got left. From what we've seen, we need to see something different than what we've seen so far this season.
Man, James?
Yeah, well, I think how long have I been beating that drum for Zach to give up play calling? Thanks,
Damn,
Eric.
man.
That wasn't even we didn't even discuss that before.
Hey, James, we need to calm down a little bit. ET's got me fired up. ET's got to calm down. We all feel the same way, ET.
I have been beating that drum from going back wearing your player helmet, ET. And again, not putting this on Lou, but at what point, and the Brown family's been more than patient than most teams in the league with keeping coaches around. But what point do you just need a different voice talking to you on that defensive side, saying, you know what, Lou, it's been a great 4 or 5 years. Thank you. We're going to shake hands, go separate directions. Is that something that this team needs, kind of a breath of fresh air, maybe knowing that Zach's probably not going to go anywhere?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I like Louis, and I think that, and I like coaches that coach from the back end. Louis got thrown a poison dart. When you take away your two safeties and a defense that's really safety driven, those guys sort of drive the boat. If you wonder why the defense has been struggling so much, because we're not sound at that position, at those two safety positions. And so I think that for Louis, Von Bell's not going to get it done. They're not going to bring him back next year. Battle's going to be back. He's a young player. They're going to have to bring in another safety, maybe even 2 of them. Draft him, bring him in, get those positions filled. If he can do that, look, if David Howe's a free agent, I would go after him this offseason. Bring him in, get you a veteran corner, just like you got with Wuje. Bring him in so he can teach these guys something. He needs to be able to come in and he can teach someone like Cam Taylor, who's got I think he's got another year left on his contract. But they're gonna have to do some changes with players. I don't doubt that the scheme works. I don't doubt that the scheme works. I think the 4 interior players they got, BJ Hill and those other 3 guys, I think they're good inside. I think they can be good. They can be solid. Got to get someone else to rush quarterback. If Miles is not going to get it done, they got to move on, man. He's got to wait. This is 3rd year. He's got another year on his contract, doesn't he? The defensive end, 99. Yeah. So he got to play. I mean, here's the deal. Trey Henderson's going to be wanting a lot of money. He's going to want a lot of money, guys. What do? Do you pay him? I do. He's been doing it for a while. And so he's going to want a boatload of money. Maybe would he want Bosa kind of money? Some 33 million a year. Woo.
Talking about giving Lou that pass, looking at the draft, we drafted Dax in the first round. We drafted Miles Murphy in the first round, Cam Taylor-Britt in the second round, DJ Turner in the second round.
Yep.
So we've invested high picks. Does that come on a miss in the front office with Duke, or it sounds like you're giving Lou the pass, saying, "Hey, he can coach. It's the players on that."
I can tell you this factually: there was a miscalculation with Dax Hill. There was a miscalculation. Dax Hill played when he was at Michigan State. He played a dime package. He was a dime player, and it looked like he plays like a down safety. It's like a small linebacker, because you can do different things. You can cover tight ends, you can cover backs, you can rush him just like you rush a linebacker. When he came here, the Bengals anticipated that they were going to play him at safety. We could believe that he could do that. But we found out that he had a horrible time out in space. Horrible time. And we're talking about a guy, if you guys remember his rookie year, Jackson was balling out. I said, oh my gosh, he's going to be very good. He doesn't get better. He doesn't get better. And so then by the time they had him the keys, he wasn't ready. He hadn't played enough. And by the time he got in the game, he was just horrible. DJ Turner, young corners take lumps. You're looking at one. I even talked about DJ Turner. I told Solomon, I said, I give him a pass. He's a rookie. He got roughed up a lot last year. Started off rough this year, got better. Last few weeks, now he's broken collarbone, he's probably out. Seemed to be playing a little bit better the last few weeks. The disappointing thing is Cam Taylor-Britt. To take such huge steps backwards. And again, who do you blame for that? I mean, Louis is not coaching the corners. He got a coach that does that. But the back end is not good. And I know they got a safety coach and a corners coach. Man, these guys are not playing at the level. And, of course, we got to lay it on Louis' lap. He's a coordinator. I don't know if is it coordinator or the players just ain't getting it done. Either way, it's the same thing. I mean, Dick LeBeau coached us, and look, man, Dick LeBeau had a lot of guys playing in the back end. He had 6 of us back there playing. A lot. And he understood, and we understood everyone's responsibility, what we had to do. And it was his job to make sure that we got it right. And he was always on top of us about, hey, guys, letting us know we can't play bad on the back end. If we play bad, it's going to be a bad game. We can control everything. We control the long passes. We control the long runs. If we're tackling, they ain't breaking long runs. If we're covering, they ain't breaking long passes. That's on Louis. I don't know if Zach will keep him. Zach may have to keep him to keep his own job, which any of us would do. Let's not get it twisted. We all do the same thing. But I think that they're going to have to look at this hard and long and say, what are we going to do about this, man? This is sort of got a situation here. Good players. Joe Burrow's not going to be around forever. Yeah. I hate the thought that if he keeps getting beat up, this dude's been getting beat up this year. Joe Burrow's been getting beat down this year. Gosh, I hate to watch some of the games and just watch him take those hits. Look, I love this guy. I love this team. I hope they can get it right. I fear for him that if he keeps getting the punishment that he's getting, he won't want to play football. Now, you guys can take that for whatever it's worth and take it for whatever you think it might mean. But, at some point when you're playing football, it's like a boxing match. You got to decide when to tap out. You got to decide when is this not healthy for me to do anymore. When it's not good for me long-term, for my health long-term. And let me tell you, that scares me to think about that. But they better do something quick. They better do something to help this quarterback before it gets to the point where he starts having those thoughts. Because we had another quarterback here that had them same thoughts. He couldn't take it. He didn't feel that they were moving in a championship direction. Who doesn't want to win? Hell, I see all three of you guys. You guys want that Super Bowl bad as I do. I can taste it with this quarterback. I can taste it. He's that good. I mean, I've heard people say I said, man, look, I watch a lot of football. He's that good. I would be saying he was that good if he played for any team in the league. I saw him when he was in college. I said, oh my God, I called Solomon. Excuse me, guys. Got a little cold here. I saw him in college for the first couple of games. I called Solomon immediately. I said, hey, man, have you seen this quarterback for LSU? I said, man, this dude's like a Tom Brady type of guy. He looks like him, throws the ball like him, body language, everything. He said he's better than Tom Brady is right now. He's better than Tom Brady is right now. Only thing he doesn't have is a resume that looks like Tom's. He hasn't won anything. And if he doesn't win anything, there's going to be a reason why. If he doesn't win in this town, it won't be because of Joe Burrow. I'll say that again. If he doesn't win, it won't be because of him. He's ultra, ultra talented. He's got ultra, ultra heart. He's smart. He's smarter than Tom Brady is right now when Tom Brady was at the peak of his career. his mental game. You can't beat him. You know, every now and then you'll fool him, but not much. He doesn't get fooled, man. I mean, and he didn't have the Carson Palmer arm, but he can get it there. I mean, so right now is the time for this franchise up the front office and Zach Taylor to say, man, we can't screw this up. Please don't screw this up, because any other team, fans will be frothing at the mouth to have a quarterback like Joe Burrow running their franchise. Any team, any fan base would want him. So let's hope that they figure it out, man, and they do it, because he's deserving of it. A lot of the fans are deserving. I mean, we've been waiting a long time, man, long time.
We're with you, buddy. Hey, let's change it a little bit. You've given us way more time than we asked for, but I do want to go out and ask some questions about your career, brother. Just talk about. I got two of them, quick ones here, and we'll end on these. Your most memorable game as a Cincinnati Bengal.
Clearly the Super Bowl was, but that was a loss. I think the most memorable game was the Houston Oilers game. We played them here. They were such yappers. They like to talk a lot. And they came here and they had a coach named Jerry Glanville. And all they talked about was Cincinnati Bengals. They're not a tough football team. They're soft. They don't want to line up and hit you in the mouth. Okay. 61-7 later. Yeah, we hit them in the mouth. Definitely the most memorable game, because in the NFL, you never get a chance to score 60 points. Yes, you know. We see now teams just don't get a chance to score 60. So that was pretty sweat.
So might have answered my second. Might have answered. Go ahead, Tom. You finish it out, bud.
But well, with that game, the next day, Boomer called Warren Moon and apologized for the timeout and kicking the field goal. Now, were you one of those guys that looked down after the game at the Oilers and said, sorry about that? Or were you like about 2/3 of the guys on the sidelines put their head down and were laughing at Sam calling that timeout kicking?
You know, we were playing a team that hated our guts. They hated our guts. And when they had a chance to beat us, they if they had a chance to do that to us, they would have done the same thing. Trust me. Jerry Glanville was that kind of villain. He had some villains on the team. That was a they were a mean, physical, nasty team. He had great players on that team too. And so for us to beat them like that, I wouldn't apologize for anything. You got what you deserved.
Oh, man, you're bringing back some good memories there, E.T. I remember that game like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, E.T., brother, we appreciate it, man. It's just, I love having former players on, especially you, E.T., coming back. And, man, you didn't pull any punches, brother. You spoke your mind, spoke from your heart. You're just as passionate about this as we are. And we have almost 1,000 people right now watching live right now, E.T., and they feel the same way you do, brother. I just love that people get to see your passion around Cincinnati Bengals football, man. So
man, I tell you, Solomon and I, we talk football every day. Clearly, we talk about the Bengals. We talk about other teams as well, but we talk about the Bengals quite a bit. And we still live here, made our homes here. We want to see them do well. We want to see them win that Super Bowl. And I don't know if there's a better time or better opportunity than now with this quarterback. They got another 4 to 5 years to let him take them there, but they better get him some help. And I don't care if the help comes in the form of the coaching staff or players, front office. I don't care how they do the help. Get the man the help, because you got a winner in this guy, and what you don't want is for him to lose that fire and decide that I've had enough and they got to walk away from football because I don't have a chance to win a championship.
Gotcha. Well, brother, we appreciate you, man. I know we'll be seeing you around, man, but thanks for being with us tonight. It means a lot.
You got it, gentlemen. Love you guys.
Hey, love you, buddy.
Great show, guys. Appreciate it.
He brought it, man. I love it.
He did.
Great
what? Guest as always.
Everybody watching was listening very close to that last part, because I think he put it better than any of us have put it. And we talk a lot and message a lot and talk about the team and, in a year like this, what's coming next and so forth. But Joe Burrow needs to help. Joe Burrow needs to not get hit anymore. Joe Burrow needs a defense good enough to let him win, and the tools around him on offense to get it. And whether it's in the form of players or coaches or whatever he needs, that's what needs to happen. Not an excuse, but and he he put it perfectly. And I hope all Bengal fans heard that. And, and we talk, I talk to the two guys above me on the screen all the time, even when I go to bail them out of jail. And we talk about this kind of stuff. But that was the best I've ever heard that put in the struggles of the last year and a half.
Yeah, Tom, I agree. And usually ET's more of a laid back personality. I'll be honest. I knew he'd be open and honest, but man, he was wanting to talk about this. There was 4 things that I wrote down that I'm going to have to figure out what we want to kind of pose for the folks that couldn't watch this live. That Chase contract, him talking about that was pretty interesting. Whether you play Joe the rest of the year or not, he questioned him.
What was the one thing I said, Jimmy, after that game?
Yep.
Wrap Joe in bubble wrap, throw him up to the tower, and let him call plays. And
yeah, they're not going to do that. But
they're not going to do that. But it was, it's a serious discussion. At some point, it's gonna come to that.
When you
we're thinking about next year. You're playing the young guys, but it's certainly crossed my mind. It's crossed probably the coach's mind and the front office mind with the investment that we have in Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and the third thing he said when he looked in his camera on his laptop or phone, whatever he was watching on.
We're there.
And talked about, Zach, I'm talking to you. Stop making calls. Be a coach. I mean, that was pretty poignant. And then him talking about the front office. You can't screw this up, man. We got to figure this out and figure it out now. So, man, I'll tell you what, man, that was pretty powerful stuff right there by ET. You still there, Tom?
Yeah, can I ask you guys a quick question? And James brought this up. Changes and new guys and everything else. What would you guys do shifting? What young players do you want to see given a chance? I threw it out on Twitter yesterday, and I had a lot of people upset with me. Some people telling me it's a good idea. Even though probably physically he's not there yet, he needs that first pro offseason lift weights. I'd let Mike Lee go to center and shift Alex Karras to right guard or left guard. It might be unfair to do it to him against Pittsburgh for his first start, so maybe not coming out of the bye. But, let's shift to that. I mean, Cordell Volson is dead last in protecting the passer, and I think Alex Kappa is only 2 spots ahead of him.
It's been
so they
really
can't
bad.
do any worse. I mean, I don't want Joe to get hurt. If they think Joe's going to get hurt, don't do it. But let's find out what we have. They were so thrilled to get Mike Lee in the 7th round, get him in the 5th round. Are there guys you want to see? Are there guys you think that we've seen enough of this guy sitting, put in the next guy?
Yeah, there's hey, Tom, I mean, my thing on that, I mean, I saw your post today and I shared that one because I thought that was pretty powerful. I mean, at the end of both your guards are like bottom 5 in the NFL against the pass, protecting Joe. James says it all the time. You got to protect Joe. That's the franchise, right? So even if it's not Matt Lee at center, do you put him at guard? I don't know. I love that. I love that thought, and I love that conversation around that.
And, Lisa's been posting this all night, and I agree 100%, fix the trenches. That does include protect Joe. I'll disagree with ET on the T situation. I think, we've signed a veteran wide receiver in the offseason. We're not going to pay T $30 million. Some team is going to. But on that offensive side, I think you get Joe some other competent receivers, he'll be fine. But first and foremost, protect them, and then let's fix the defense. It was brought up, ET brought it up too. Trey's going to get a raise next year. He's going to get a raise. He's going to get an extension.
He's earned it.
Yeah, 100%. So there's only so much money to go around. Joe can do it without, without T. Will it be a little bit harder? Yeah, but I think it'll be a lot easier if he's upright the whole time and not getting pounded like he is this year.
Yeah, and I heard, ran into somebody at the airport that T wants to try to figure out a way to stay. Now, I don't know what that means financially, but the Bengals aren't going to pay him $25 to $30 million. I can tell you that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason. But Tom, I don't know if there's any other player on that bench that I want to see play right now. I mean, Lee's the only one. I mean, Battle's finally getting his playing time, but the biggest disappointment is if the safeties weren't so damn bad, he probably wouldn't be getting his opportunity right now.
Can I ask our viewers for help? I mean, we do research. We get ready for the game every week. James killing himself. You're not sleeping. Jamie's so exhausted he couldn't even be here tonight getting ready for the show. If there's a guy that we picked up from the Ravens, Sean Manning, who played at Kentucky. Now, we watched our guards get pushed around. This guy is 6'4", 340. I only watched him paying attention, watched him a couple times. But he seems to, at least it seemed to me like he played with a nasty streak. If any of our friends south of the river, other than James, can tell me about this guy during his time at Kentucky. He's been on the practice squad all year. He's got to know the playbook by now. That might be another guy, if we're going to tinker with the offensive line, that should be given a shot. So, whether it's on Twitter or here, if anybody knows more about this guy, certainly physically and from what I saw from a temperament standpoint, the type of player that the Bengals need on the line.
Speaking of the line, I agree 100% here. You can see it's in my hashtag today about Frank. The one constant is, what's he been here? 4 or 5 years now, in addition to the line, he's in charge of the running game. What did we see, Joe Mixon go 45 yards last night? When was the last time Joe Mixon had a 45-yard run in a Bengals uniform? Again, goes back to the line, goes back to opening the holes. Pollock hasn't get it done. If nothing happens, and I would have hoped it would have happened in the bye week, a change needs to be made there. If we bring Lou back, fine. If Zach still fine, pitcher fine, but Frank Pollock, please, can we just send him down the river? Second stint here, I don't think he was any better in the first stint. I wasn't a fan of, was it Sherman who was here, the first line coach, Tom? Whoever it was before Frank.
Oh, Jim Turner?
Jim Turner, yes.
Jim Turner was living proof that we can do worse than Frank Pollock.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh.
Frank was an upgrade.
If we can ever get somebody that can replace Frank soon, that would be very helpful.
But James, somebody did say, hold on. There's a bunch of comments, but glass eaters. He gets glass eaters.
Police are grass eaters. Is more like
more like grass eaters.
I think it was Andrew here in the in the chat. But here it is right here. Joe Mixon is a new player behind that Texas O-line. Again,
it was crazy. I mean, Joe. I mean, he averaged less than 4 yards a damn carry last year, and he couldn't block to save his life. But he's getting some holes in that damn offensive line.
Joe would not have had the year he's having in Houston here.
100%.
He's not that type of back. And a lot of people said when we traded him down there, hey, he's the setup they have, the scheme they have, he's going to flourish. And when he's healthy, he's done very well. But he would not have done. Yeah. He'd have been the same back he was last year.
Exactly.
And it's not that I don't like him. The money, I didn't want to pay him the money, but I think running backs are like outfielders in baseball. A dime a dozen. Get a damn line that can block and open a hole, and Tom can run through the damn thing.
Whoa. All right, well, let's close this out, man. I tell you what, man, didn't want to get in here and talk about the same shit we talked about last week. We did a little bit, but I'm telling you, E.T. was powerful, man, and I love listening to him, and we appreciate everybody being with us. But Tom, go ahead and close this out tonight, man. Start with you, bud.
Yeah, it was an excruciating loss, and you look at all of our losses this year, they could all be wins very, very easily, even with the deficiencies we have on the roster. But keep the faith in the franchise. Let's enjoy this next month plus. Let's get some wins. Let's feel good. Let's find out about our young guys. But as always, we appreciate there's so many ways you can keep up with Bengal fans and learn about the team and talk about the team. And the fact that you choose to spend an hour a week with us does mean so much. So thank you to everybody, and we'll kick it up to James.
As I mentioned earlier, thank you, everybody. Great turnout in LA, as always. Despite another loss, everybody's here. We appreciate your input, thoughts in the chat. Enjoy the week off. Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, going to be a lot of fun. As ET said, they're going to come out looking for blood, and it's a rivalry. let's get the win, but enjoy the weekend off as always. Appreciate everybody. And ET, I thought Joe Kelly was a great guest last week, just getting that former perspective. ET, same thing, someone that's there in the trenches, experiencing the ups and downs. The hot player in the chat was, Cam Taylor-Britt. ET was there playing that exact same position. So just value their feedback and taking the time to come on and talk to Bengals fans and know their passion that they still have for the team and for us to win. So, it's the candle's flickering, but there is a little bit of light on it. Jimmy?
Yeah. We got to win out and get some help. Let's figure that shit out. I'll always be look, win or lose, we're all going to be here. We all deal with this losing differently. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be fans regardless of what happens, and we'll be there no matter what. Tonight, guys, we never fail. It ceases to amaze me, guys. Tonight, as I looked at the chat area, some people telling us where they were dialing in from. I'm getting texts from people. But we had viewers tonight from this is what I know. There could be way more. Tennessee, North Carolina, Michigan, Illinois, Florida, Texas, obviously Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. Guys, Pennsylvania as well. So we appreciate you guys being with us tonight. Our form of Bengal counseling, we need each other right now to get through the rough time. I don't know about you guys, but I know this bye week I am not watching a snap of professional football. I'm going to chill and do some stuff with Trish and the fam and have a fun weekend and re-energize and refocus for that Steelers game. So we love you guys. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Hoo day, everybody.